I've got to say, we're in the roughest state I've ever seen Destiny. And everyone memed on us last year for talking about Destiny 2 dying. I was already noticing some of the cracks around this time last year. And, you know, I love this community. I really do. I think it's one of the best communities in all of gaming. But sometimes it's so sharp on either end of the spectrums. You've got a part of this community that vehemently attacks developers for literally nothing, you know? Most random stuff. And then you've got the other side, that's folks that defend this game like it's their freaking firstborn child. But I mean, like, look, you know, numbers are numbers. You gotta, and I mean, that's what's telling the story right now. And if I was to go to Google Trends, if I was to type in Destiny 2, and I do over the past 5 years, it's not as low. Hold on. Last year it got really low. Got really low. Good God. Look at this decline. August. Look at that. Good Lord. What happened to us last November? You know what's so crazy is that this is just Google Trends, right? So this is just showing like Destiny 2 as a search term. This is going to sound terrible, but all the layoffs actually caused a lot of traffic online. And if we're basing this on the GDC situation, right? Where it was like all publicity is good publicity, which in this case, no. Season the Plunder, dude. That was Season the Plunder. Yep. We made a video last year saying, or we made a couple videos saying that we thought Destiny 2 was dying. Or, you know, it has a downward trend. And, you know, Google Trends was one of those. And like, before people jump up and say cross, but Google Trends, who cares, man? Who cares what the largest search engine on earth says? Right? I take you to Steam charts. It's a random Thursday, guys. You know what I mean? We got 26,520 players on Destiny 2. And look, here's the thing. If I was to say, what was the lowest point in Destiny history? But November's not over. I know we're sitting at 46,677, but November's not over. You know, here's the thing. New season's launching at the end of this month. Could be doing good, man. Could be doing good. That number could go back up to 320,000. But see, look. I bring these statistics to the Destiny player base, and I get told, no, Cross, everything's great. Everything's fine. Farming Simulator 22 is beating our ass. Euro Truck Simulator 2 is beating our ass. I would take that personally. That game's fire, though. All right. I'm just saying, right? Look, the reality is that, you know, people are playing less Destiny right now. And I know this because friends of mine that have made content over the years, they are making less Destiny 2 content. It's sad. I very much enjoyed pulling up a Sir D video and watching Destiny 2 content on his channel, and it'd be full of all kinds of fun stuff. And like, before people jump up and say, well, Cross, that's because everything's turned into reaction content and you're fucking part of that too. I know. I am part of that. But if the game was truly thriving, it wouldn't be us reacting to stuff like Destiny 2's dying, or, you know, reading articles about Destiny 2's drop off and layoffs and whatever else. We would just be playing the game, having a good time. Well, we're actually going to watch a video real quick. This is by a friend of ours, TDT. You guys may most likely already subscribe to him. He's got fantastic content, but I want us to watch this video. It's titled The Future of Destiny 2, Bungie and Us.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. That's never been more true than it is right now. In case you're not aware, and I apologize, I'm off script here. I was not planning on this. Nobody was planning on news of this caliber to drop today. So I apologize if I'm a little disorganized, but the quick version is Bungie just laid off an unbelievable amount of employees, about 8% of their workforces from the numbers that I see, which is about 100 people. And they've been underperforming under their projections by about 45%, which is a huge under projection or underperformance. And obviously there's a lot of bad blood going around right now, understandable bad blood going around right now, as not only are players scared and worried about what's going to be in the future of Destiny. Content creators, obviously the people who are laid off, which is just terrible now that you're coming into the holiday season. I cannot imagine what you guys are going through. My prayers are out for every single person there. That is unbelievable. It's It's scary. Like, what do? Everyone is hurting right now, and I want to talk about just briefly the future of Destiny from my perspective as somebody who is desperately trying to remain optimistic, who is desperately trying to hold on to what glint of hope remains, and talk about Bungie and talk about content creation, because Bungie has had to push back the final shape another 4 months, which means we're going to have a 6-month season coming off of a season right now where we've been in one of the worst droughts we've been in a while. And it's so sad that having one of the worst droughts we've ever had in a while is like old hat at this point. The bar was on the ground and Bungie brought a shovel through monetization, through a not so fantastic Lightfall expansion past the honeymoon phase. There's just been so many things, one after another, that has like scatter plotted a downward trajectory for the health of this game, for the health of Bungie, for the enjoyment of players, for the longevity of this game. I don't think Destiny's gonna die, but I do think it might be dying. Like, it might be a slow bleed, like a cancer that isn't gonna happen now, maybe not even in a year.
It's how it always goes, guys. How it always goes. And listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I've been through this before. I have been part of a thriving community. I have seen leadership at studios shoot both feet and their dicks off and then subsequently killed their player base. I'm talking about JX and RuneScape. I've experienced this. It always is a slow, painful death. And apathy is really at the end of that trail. Look, here's the thing. I'm sure TDT's is the same way. For me, I want to call things how I'm seeing it in real time and then give a prediction. You know what I mean? Give a genuine prediction on the future of something, right? Because I remember sitting in TeamSpeak with clanmates of mine. It was Kingdom of Saradomin back inside of RuneScape. We had such a great clan, wonderful people. And I remember sitting in there and talking to them. And they were like, one guy in particular was like, dude, his name was General Tick. General Tick was like, dude, this evolution in combat, man, I don't like it. I think it's going to be bad. And remember, we had another guy, his name was Mac. He was like, I think this could kill the game. And we were like, nah, man, come on, y'all being dramatic. They didn't exactly go make YouTube videos on this, but they made a very good case on why evolution of combat was going to kill RuneScape. And guess what? It fucking did. PTSD here, right? Some PTSD here. But I definitely see some of the same mistakes being made.
For content creators, briefly, as selfish as it may sound, we are scared. At least all of us who are sort of middle of the pack, we're not the most well-known. We're not, you know, your big boys. We're scared because we have a symbiotic relationship with Destiny, with the players. It is a mutually beneficial relationship. And when you see that mutual benefiting partner actively blasting their foot off with a high caliber rifle, it sort of makes you a little nervous, just a little bit. We're having to now more than ever face down not a departure from Destiny because we want to, but a departure because we more or less have to. If we can't sustain, you know, paying the bills, putting the lights on, feeding ourselves, you know, through content creation by covering Destiny, we're gonna have to go elsewhere, whether that means leaving content creation as a whole or finding a different game, something, right? I don't know what the future holds. I don't want to leave anytime soon. I'm scared. And I'm sure many other people are feeling that too. It's just, I didn't expect it to go like this.
You know, for content creators, I don't know how it is for other content creators. Man, it's such a weird animal. You know, content creation was never meant to be, at least from my outlook on it, I never looked at it as a long-term thing, you know. At this point, and again, I guess I had the luxury of speaking from a perspective of someone who's been doing it, you know, long enough where I'm pretty happy, I guess. But for me, it's always been like, oh my God, we got another year. Let's fucking go. And, you know, worst case scenario, well, it's not worst case scenario, you know, one scenario, we find another game to play. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of creators that could find that other game that really sustains them. I would have never done YouTube or streaming if it wasn't for Destiny. A lot of things made me want to make content for Destiny. I remember it was 2014. I was on my way to work and I'm listening to videos from other content creators. I'd watch Mr. Fruit. I fucking love Fruits. But there was also, in the sea of great content creators, there were some shit ones. All right. And I remember specifically things like strategies for raids and stuff like this. And I would be listening to this and I'd be like, it's a terrible strategy. It's awful. And then suddenly I was like, I got to make a video. I don't even know how to make a video. I don't even know how to record shit. I've been listening to these terrible ass fucking strats. I recorded on my PlayStation 4. I edited things out in Share Factory of all places. Anyways, as far as like content creation goes, I think it's like anything else. Like nothing is ever sure. You know, if you want sure in life, I hate to say it, you know, I wish things could be more sure, but if you want sure in life, maybe go work for the government, you know, but you know, there's downsides to that too. Right? But anything you ever do, especially get into in it for yourself, and whether it is content creation, which is, you know, I would argue and say hyper competitive. Everybody around here has got a short band of attention, you know what I mean? And entertainment is weird. You know, one thing that's entertaining today is completely different tomorrow, right? So my thing is I found myself years ago, I was working as an accountant. I was a terrible accountant. I was working as an accountant. I was getting my CPA license and I was sitting there. I was number crunching on a random afternoon. And I remember thinking to myself, you know what? I know this is a steady job. I will always have a job. Even with me being a shitty accountant, I will always have a job. But God damn it, life can't be like this. I was like, I would rather burn bright, but for very briefly. And look, if you're an accountant, by the way, don't take any hate for this. I'm just saying for me, it just wasn't stroking that creative side, right? And I didn't even know I had that side, right? But the other side of things is whether you're, you know, a content creator, I feel like we do have more flexibility. And, you know, some of you guys that are covering Destiny, you may pivot into another game and blow the fuck up. I mean, blow the fuck up. It may be the biggest blessing of your life. I've seen content creators come and go in the Destiny community. They've picked up other games and they have just launched themselves into the stratosphere. Some examples, MTash, you know what I mean? That guy got on Genshin and blew up, killed it. Mr. Fruit, the same thing. I mean, so many things Fruit was doing. So, I mean, he was already blowing up, but then he blew up on so many other games past Destiny. Gladys went full-blown variety. Why is this copium? What do you mean? Why is that copium? You act like you can't change lanes. You could change lanes. At one time, Tfue and Dr. Lupo used to play nothing but Destiny. Imagine if they only stayed with Destiny and didn't jump to another game. Imagine they didn't see. And look, I don't know if that other game was a decision they made based on, you know, whether they projected growth or not. Maybe it was just they were playing another game and it was probably a really good fucking game and they jumped on that game and it worked out. Sometimes the stars align and dude, you just right place, right time. There was a lot of content creators like that. And what I'm saying is that yes, there is some uncertainty as a content creator. I would say we have the luxury of not having something so final as what the developers are facing, because they just get handed a notice like, hey, get the fuck out. You know what I mean? This is your last week. Get your shit, get the fuck out. But as a content creator, you do have that option to rotate. And look, even for the developers, they can rotate too, but there is a large amount. I mean, I read something this morning, 1,000 more employees at another studio got laid off. I mean, there is obviously a pullback happening in the industry as a whole. But just to circle back to content creators. Yes, it does suck that content creation won't be forever in the Destiny world. To be quite honest, we're way past the point that I ever thought we would get. You know, I never anticipated us being in damn near 2024 still making Destiny content. It's crazy to me. And now the thing that frustrates me when we make content about Destiny and we're especially content that is advising Bungie to make changes is I see the same mistakes going back in rotation with Bungie and Destiny. No matter who you are, whether you're an enemy or a friend or whatever, you know, if there's a pile of shit that you're going to continuously keep stepping in, I just feel obligated to tell you, hey man, there's a pile of shit right there. Don't step in it again. I know you just stepped in it 12 times, but this one time, can you not step in it? For my content creators, though, you'll be surprised. I know whatever uncertainties are coming, you'll be surprised that this may end up being the biggest blessing ever for you. There may be that other game around the corner. Who knows? Maybe Anthem comes back. And then we can all become Anthem creators. And then we can all get banned from Anthem together when we cheat. Look. I need people to understand games can die. That's the thing. There's a mindset of like, Destiny can't die. Yes, it fucking can. They can fucking die. And you've seen it happen with other games, especially live service games, where they just, that's it. You know, is it going to happen right now? No, it will teeter out. You know what I mean? It will teeter out. It will teeter out to a point where it's almost painful. You know, you're just like, God damn it, pull the plug. Just fucking pull the plug. Just end this shit. But to sit there and say it's impossible for Destiny to die, I mean, in what world? In what world? When you're insolvent, you're insolvent. You run out of money, you run the fuck out of money. There are certain companies, I will admit, that have the infinite money glitch. Okay, Apple's one of them. Microsoft's another. Amazon's another. Okay, but like outside of those companies, not many other companies have the infinite money glitch. And even those companies, things could happen. There are some things that can happen. I've been on job sites before because I did construction for a bit, and I remember I was on this one job site. We were building this plant. So the plant was divided into two phases. It was A line and B line, and it was a plant that was symmetrical, so it was identical on either side. And one side of the plant we did completely beautiful, done in no time, got completely paid. Second side of the plant though, it was really odd because suddenly the company we were working for said, hey, listen, we can't pay you right now, but we're going to pay you exactly what we paid you for A line. For B line though, we got you. We're going to pay you. And they kept kind of kicking the can down the road. Right? And suddenly, I would say probably 50% through Beeline, and we're talking millions and millions of dollars. 50% through this job. Every contractor on there, all the subs, the GC, the construction management firm, all of them were like, look, you fuckers are either going to pay or we're not going to do any more work. Like, you know, and this was private work. And then it wasn't a week later when an article came out that company was confirmed insolvent. For whatever reason, I mean, I know a few reasons why they ended up getting themselves in such a bind, but you know, you wonder in those situations, okay, insolvent, what does that mean? Do you still get paid? No, nobody got paid. All that fucking work everyone did for months on that job, nobody got paid. And you know, yeah, there's some bullshit they got set up where there's going to be some sort of like payout, but it's much, much less. And everybody just gets a tiny little slice of this little bitty fucking pie. They would have insurance for that kind of thing, Cross. Brother, it's called bonding. I know exactly what you're talking about, Icarus. And whenever you bid a job, you have to have bonding before you can bid. And bonding goes up to a certain level. So depending on the size of the job. So yes, when it comes to private work, though, bonding is imperative for public work. But for private work, if I go out and I build a plant for Georgia Pacific, right, I don't need bonding. You understand? Therefore, in this situation, no money was paid out. A bunch of private companies don't have bonding on a job. Yep. All right. So the point I'm trying to get back is no company is really too big to fail. There are a few companies that it would take a long time for them to fail, but no company, especially in the gaming world, is too big to fail. You know, I think when it comes to Destiny 2, outside, I guess, episodes, which are supposed to change things up, they haven't really improvised over the past 3 years. I mean, what's the craziest thing that's happened? We got Trials of Osiris back. We got some D1 raids back. Got some new raids. Right? Subclass 3.0, that's a big one. I would argue and say subclass 3.0, that's a Destiny 3 change. The point is that there's like this thought process that companies, in this case, Bungie, is too big to fail. And that's not the case, man. That's not the case. Now, I will say this. Even though I do love 3.0 subclasses, don't kid yourself. It f**ks some subclasses up. Okay? In terms of power fantasy, you know, if you had to ask me today, Cross, which would you rather? Would you rather Arc 3.0 or old school Arc Strider Tyrant Surge meta? Some of you know what I'm talking about. I think I would go with old War Mindset Tyrant Surge build. I mean, I'm just saying, like, in terms of power fantasy, dude, that was disgusting. I understand why 3.0 exists. 3.0 exists because it helps Bungie balance things more. I mentioned this in one of your videos with the whole mod rework kill build crafting. Well, it definitely made you less potent. Find a new game. God damn it, Greedy. What the hell? You just come in here and start slinging violence? Look. People are doing that. I want you to know, everyone, that's what I'm saying. The sentiment, go find a new game. Trust me, with these numbers, people are in fact finding a new game. You don't even have to say it anymore. There is an exodus happening. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I just need like 5 other people to play Destiny, right? It'll be me and 5 other dudes still running in a raid every now and then. I feel like you need to have a balance. a balance to everything, right? We get hype, but you know, we're realistic. You know, if Destiny's hurting, you know, you gotta wonder why. You know, you gotta sit down and wonder why.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.